Now, did you feel like this a few years ago? And do you feel like this now, even after you've done nothing? I'm sure it sounds about right. Yes, your lower back. And if your lower back is giving you that silent treatment, well, you're not alone. And these days, having a lower back problem is pretty normal considering the amount of hours that we sit on a desk, especially in our offices. And not just that, but also sitting for long hours in general, which has increased to almost 3 times more compared to a few decades ago. And sitting for long hours not just affects your health, but it also majorly impacts your lower back. That's why things like these are what you relate to. And if you think of your lower back, it's almost used in everything. Whether you have to pick something up, or you have to lift something, or even if you have to just hold something. And it's also what we all take for granted. But today I'm going to show you 4 things to do that will make your lower back superhuman. And now I know the idea of strengthening exercises might sound very intimidating, but trust me, it's all about building you up and not breaking you down. And if you commit to these exercises, I can confidently assure you that you will be on the right track to a very strong and more resilient lower back. So if you have a lower back pain or you're just looking to upgrade your overall lower back strength, then I've got your back, literally. So let's make your lower back strong and avoid those ouch moments every time you stand up. Now, before we get to these exercises, let's get a little bit more real. Our lifestyles have gone from being very physically active to being organized active, like going to the gym or consciously exercising. And having a poor posture has become very common these days. And with time, getting more comfortable has caused us a lot of discomfort, especially with our lower backs. And the best thing to do is try and understand it first. And the solution to this starts with understanding why. So, why is having lower back strength really important? So it's not just about a fitness thing, but it's a game changer, especially when it comes to sitting, moving, and even standing for long hours. And your lower back is pretty much like the foundation of a building. If the building foundation is weak, then whatever you try to build on top will not really stay strong. And if you're still thinking that why does it matter? It's simple because your lower back is the backbone literally of your daily activities. And if you strengthen your lower back, then simple things become simpler and even difficult things become easier. And because your lower back is involved in almost every activity that you do, it's just asking you for a little bit of love and comfort by strengthening it. And just like every relationship, if you don't give it enough of care and if you don't give it enough attention, eventually it's going to protest. Just that it will get weak and in turn it will give you long-term problems which you don't really want. And what I'm going to show you are simple exercises. You don't really need a gym. You can do it anywhere, anytime, and it's not even rocket science. Now, these are some of the exercises that I myself practice to strengthen and keep my lumbar region quite strong. Now, one thing I'm not here to do is promise you a miracle, but what I can promise you is that if you be consistent and do these consistently, you will automatically see the results. So, incorporate these exercises in your routine. Make sure that you listen to your body and also take it at your own pace. Now let's get into the whole nuts and bolts of how we are going to make this happen, and we are going to very first start with your core, which is the powerhouse for your spine. And the very first thing we are going to do is planks. Now, if you're wondering why should I strengthen my core when it comes to my lower back, well, just to make it simpler for you, just understand that if you don't have a strong core, you will not have a strong back. Now, doing a plank is simple. Just make sure that you're on your forearms with your legs straight at the back, exactly as what you see in the visual. And one thing you really need to make sure is that your pelvis, which is your butt area, is not too up and not too down. It is somewhere in the middle, so you don't have that arch. And it looks pretty simple, right? So do this for 1 minute and 3 times in total. This will not just fire up your abs, but it will build a very solid foundation for your lower back. And just make sure while you're doing your plank, you're continuously breathing in and out. And if you feel 1 minute is too long, then start with 30 seconds initially. And if 30 seconds gets comfortable, then later increase it to a minute. Now, the very next thing that you're going to do is something that is called a bird dog exercise. I mean, it's not a special animal that you'll find in nature. Now, exactly how you're seeing it in the visual, you have to think of a graceful bird and a very balanced dog. So, all you're going to do is you're going to extend one arm and the opposite leg. So, for example, if you're using your left hand to stretch out straight, you're going to use your right leg. And all this does is maintains a stable core. And while doing this exercise, you have to make sure that you're not rocking your shoulders or hips from side to side. Now, this move is not just fantastic when it comes to building your balance, but it's also very effective when it comes to building your core muscles. Now, the bird and dog exercise, you can do it 10 on each side. And if you feel like you can do more, then repeat the same. And last but not the least are bridges. All you have to do is lie down on your back, make sure your knees are bent and your feet are on the floor. And all you're going to do is keep your hands on the side, or you can just hold your ankle, and you lift your hips up. And while doing this, you engage or you hold your glutes, which are your butt muscles. And while doing this, you will feel your lower back getting some serious tension. And some of these exercises, while you're doing it, you might find it very simple. And do this exercise for a minute, then you relax and do it for another minute again. So now that we've covered core exercises, we're going to do exercises that will help those muscles along the spine. Now, these exercises that you're going to do will not just help those muscles along your spine, but it will also be responsible to keep you upright and also supported, whether you're standing, sitting, or even walking. So if you've ever felt that tension on your lower back, these movements or exercises that I'm going to show you are a secret weapon that will say goodbye to the discomfort. And the very first thing that you're going to do is something that is a Superman exercise. You might want to get your cape. Now, all you have to do is lay down on your belly, and all you have to do is extend both arms and legs. Now, while you're in this position, your forehead will be touching the floor. Breathe in. You have to think that you're flying through the sky, just like Superman. And while you breathe out, you're going to come down, and you're going to breathe in again and get back to being Superman. And try to do this 10 times or 10 repetitions at least. So it's not just a cool move, but it's a fantastic way to engage those back muscles. Now, what we're going to do next is also something very simple. It's also called a good morning or a flat back. So all you're going to do here is make sure that your feet are slightly apart or your hip distance apart. Now, you can do it in two ways. Either you can keep your arms exactly as you're seeing in the visuals, which is on your head. And maintaining a flat back, you're just going to bow a little bit in front without bending your back. What you can do, another method, is where you stretch your arms right up and you can just go forward almost like a tabletop, and you can hold that position for as much as you can and then come back again when you're done. And do this a couple of times and hold the tabletop position, and this will really help to strengthen that lower back. Now, while doing this, what you majorly need to focus is not just going down into a flat back and coming up, but also when you're going into the flat back, you try and hold that position for a while, at least 5 or 10 seconds, and then you come up. Now, since we finished the whole strengthening exercises, now we are going to do something which will engage in a little bit of flexibility. So now is the time we show a little bit of care for your lower back. And the very first thing that you're going to do is a child pose. Now, a child pose is very easy to do. All you have to do is you have to go on your knees and make sure that your toes are stretched out. And you're going to sit back in the gap between your heels. And all you're going to do is you're going to stretch for a relaxed lower back. So you're going to take your arms forward as much as you can while trying to keep your butt between your heels. And all you have to do here is let your back relax. It's pretty much like giving your lower back a little vacation. Now, what this does is it stretches your entire lower back and elongates all the muscles around it. And this child's pose that you're going to do, you can do it a couple of times till you feel a nice relaxation on your lower back. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is something that we call a cat and cow stretch. Now, this stretch is called a cat and cow. So all you're going to do is get on all your fours, and the very first thing is that you're going to just try and curve your spine as much as you can and curve it in a way that really feels fantastic. Now, after you've done that, you're going to create this very nice arch, and again, you're going to round that back, letting each movement be a very fresh breath of air for your lower back. And then do this multiple times till you really feel good. And an exercise like this will be a very nice comforting stretch for your back. And last but not the least, when it comes to your stretch, is something that you're going to very simply do is you're going to lie down on the floor with your back touching the floor. You're going to get your knees close to your chest, and using your hands, you're going to hold your shin, and all you're going to do is pull your legs down to your stomach. This will straighten up your spine and give it a very nice comforting feeling, and you can also rock from side to side. Just remember, we are not trying to set any flexibility records here. It's about finding what really feels good for you. And these stretches are very simple, but they are very effective when it comes to your lower back. So you're not just strengthening those muscles, you're also giving it a little more love and care through flexibility. Now, what we've done is we've done your core, we've done strengthening, and we've also done flexibility. Now, let's talk about something which is very simple to end this with, is stability. Now, what we're going to do is something that will help you with your lumbar stabilization. And the very first thing you're going to do for your stabilization of your lower back is pelvic tilts. Now, pelvic tilt exercises are where you just rock your pelvis a little forward and back. So, all you're going to do is you're going to lie down on your back with your knees bent and your heels closer to your butt. And all you're going to do is engage those muscles and tilt forward and backward. And all you will feel is your lower back moving forward and backward. Just make sure that you do this a couple of times and you will be just fine. Now, I don't think that any of these exercises that I've shown you are very difficult. I think they are pretty simple for anyone to do. And even though these exercises look like such a small thing, but they are very packed with building a very strong foundation for your back and also to strengthen those back muscles. And it's not about doing more of these exercises, but doing it correctly. Plus, it's not about adding more intensity to the exercises, but more consistency. And it's also very practical to do it. And I'm not telling you that you need to go to a gym and spend a few hours in the gym doing these exercises or remove a lot of busy hours from your day. All you need to do is you can just find these small pockets where you can sneak in these exercises. For example, if you're watching your favorite show, you can maybe just pause it after an episode and quickly do one of these exercises. Or even if you're watching something and it has a commercial break, or if you're waiting for your food to cook, you can just sneak in one of these exercises and there you have it. So you don't need to make separate time for them, but you can incorporate them in your daily activities whenever you can. And as I said before, it's not about intensity, it's about consistency. So it's not about going all out on day one and then for the rest of the weeks you're doing nothing. Even if you try to do it few times a week is more than enough, as long as you do it consistently. And the golden rule when it comes to these exercises is listen to your body. If you feel that something is not right or you're feeling any kind of pain which is very unusual, you need to listen to your body and stop and get yourself checked with a health specialist. Remember, it's a marathon and not a sprint. So my challenge to you is take the very first step today and try any one of these exercises. Remember that your lower back deserves the attention that you're not giving it, and you deserve to live without any kind of discomfort. So don't think of these as exercises, just think of these as just investing in your well being. So do share your thoughts, your experiences, and any questions that you have in the comments. And until we meet again next, don't stress and be awesome. Russia that.